The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. We're also brought to you by Birddogs Shorts. The world's greatest shorts are hooking you up with a free Yeti style tumbler when you order over at birddogs.com/pool. Again, that's birddogs.com/pool. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Friday, June the 16th, currently 4:03 on the East Coast, here to give our lock, dog, and total for the Saturday games. And we'll also get into some NL West division talk about some updated standings, and look at some of the prices, the updated prices right now in that division also. And we'll talk about or give out some bets that we may like for the NL West division going forward for the rest of the season. But helping me to break it all down here on this episode, I got my guy here with me, Lonte Smith. Lonte, what's going on, my man? How you feeling this Friday afternoon, brother?
Hey, man, pretty good. Enjoying the College World Series between TCU and Oral Roberts. Pretty good game. Outside of that, man, waiting on some baseball stuff to update and get ready for the weekend. But all in all, good Friday for me.
Yeah, man, we got afternoon baseball. We got MLB. We got the Cubs and the Orioles going off, and I'm watching that college baseball game, as well. Man, it's been a glove show in that game. They got a couple runs in, but there have been some incredible defensive plays thus far in this game. So, so if you're a fan of baseball, not just MLB, definitely check out the college baseball games going on. But more importantly, check out the college baseball experience with all the college guys, especially Noah. He's been crushing it. Just been grinding along, man. Just make sure to check him out. The man's an animal. He waits up at early hours, or you could say late hours of the night, waiting for the lines to drop and putting out pods for you guys to enjoy. So definitely go give Noah his flowers in the ground that he is putting in for the college baseball World Series. Like I mentioned, we're here to do our log, dog, and total. Usually our Friday episodes are a little shorter. You guys know how we do it here. So we'll talk about our lock, dog, and total. And like I mentioned, we'll talk about the NL West division, the updated standings, and how things are going to kind of play out, or how we think they're going to play out for the rest of the season. So, Lonte, why don't we just give out our picks here first, and then we'll talk about the NL West division. Let's start with our total. Okay. I'll let you lead it off, man. What's your total for the Saturday games?
Yeah, so I'm going to Milwaukee and Pitt. I'm going under 8. I think it's the consensus number that I see. I don't know if you see anything better. Do you see anything better than that, or?
Let's see. Let me go back to the odds.
I'm seeing 8. A little bit reduced. Milwaukee or Pittsburgh, Milwaukee.
I do see a 8.5 on DraftKings.
Yeah, so I guess I'll take that, but I like it under, man. 6 of the last 10 for Milwaukee have went under. We all know their defense or their offensive struggles. I'm sorry. 18 of 32 of their home games for Milwaukee, that is, have went under. Pitt, while their numbers say that they're, like a mediocre over-under team, as of late, they've scored 3 runs or fewer in 6 of the last 10. 2 of the last 3 on the road have been 3 runs or fewer also. So that's something to monitor, and why I'm leaning towards this number. I mean, Miley, he got roughed up in the last home start by the Dodgers, but outside of that, he's allowed 3 earned runs or total in the last 4 home starts, or 3 home starts. I'm sorry. So a little over a run per game. I think he allowed 2 in one of those games, so it's probably a little bit better than that, actually. And I like Keller on the other side. I mean, he's been lights out on the road. 6 of his last 7 road starts, he's only allowed 1 earned run or less. In that 7th game, he allowed 2, so he's pretty good on the road. I think both pitchers are going to, 6 2/3, maybe up to that 7 1/3 innings. So I like the bullpens of both of these clubs. I mean, Keller, he got roughed up like late May going into his first start in June. But, I mean, he bounced back his last start versus Mets, 7 innings pitched, only 1 earned run. So I'm looking forward to a pitcher's battle. Both teams struggling offensively as of late. So I like the under 8.5 here, thinking it'll be somewhat of a 3-2, a 4-3 type of game here.
Yeah, Mitch Keller in his career hasn't been too bad against the Brewers in his career. Last season, actually, he had 3 starts against against the Brew Crew. Despite having an 0-1 record, he did have a 3.94 ERA, but that was really in one start where he allowed 4 runs in 4 2/3 innings pitched. The other 2 starts, he combined to go 11 and 1/3 innings, allowed a total of
Mm-hmm.
3 earned runs. And then in two of the last 3 starts last season, he had 7 strikeouts and 10 strikeouts as well. And historically, I mean, I've talked about a lot on the pod throughout the years. I just don't trust this Milwaukee offense. I
Right.
know Mitch Keller's not a left-handed pitcher, but even against right-handed pitching, this offense is kind of subpar for the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, you take a look at it this season; they're number 23 in team batting average, slugging percentage. They are number. Let's see here, where are they slugging? Number 20 OPS. They are number 21. So again, the theme kind of here has been they're well below league average in most of those offensive categories. So,
Right.
and I know Wade Miley got off to a really good start, like you mentioned, in the season, but he did get roughed up by the Dodgers. But again, we know the Dodgers offense is
Dodgers.
one of
Yep.
the betters, in the National League. So, I think it's gonna be a good matchup between these two squads. Quickly, I'm gonna try to pull up what the over under has been for these two teams within the division. I know I put the trend sheet out
Yeah, I seen that.
today, but
I
that won't
know
be updated. But let me
today's matchup
see.
there at 9. But again, I mean, you probably got better pitchers on the mound tomorrow night versus what they have
Yeah,
tonight.
I know
So
Rich Hill is on the mound on Friday
right,
night. So
right.
let's hear quickly if I can find it. Where are you? Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. Yeah, so Milwaukee at home, 14, 18, and 2 towards the towards the over. So they're an under team. And then Pittsburgh's really much right at 500
Yeah.
when you talk about over under trends. So yeah, definitely cannot talk you off of it. All right, for my total here, Lonte, I am going to go over to the matchup between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Oakland A's. This number is not out yet, but I'm projecting it to be around probably a 5. I'm sure you can find it out there. But the Philadelphia Phillies team total over in this game. It's pretty simple for me, man. I'm just pretty much fading James Capillion here in this game, who's the projected starter for the Oakland A's. Phillies bats, I think, found some form against the Diamondbacks. To start the week, they took 3 out of 4 from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And in those games, in those 4 games, combined for 32 total runs, and they scored at least 5 runs in 3 out of those 4 games against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And now you go up against the Oakland A's, who I know they had that winning streak, and the pitching team that kind of turned around here. But when we talk about James Capillion, he has a 2-6 record. He's with a 6.89 ERA. At home in Oakland, he has a 1-4 record with a 6.68 ERA. The opposing team in his home starts have scored at least 5 runs in 4 straight games. So if this number comes out around 5, definitely shop around for it. I don't hate it at 5.5. You probably get some plus odds on that. But I think the Phillies bat will continue to stay hot here. Again, they are the road team, so they get all 9 at bats in the 9 innings. And again, with Bryce Harper back, it provides an extra, obviously, a power bat when we talk about a former MVP and Bryce Harper. But it seems like the bats have found some form here for the Phillies. So I'm going to fade Caprillion. I'm going to take the Phillies team total to go over. I'm looking at a 5 or 5.5 in this game here, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm with you. Always good at fading Caprillion, especially against the good bats that the Phillies have. Castellanos and Schwarber have been on like a spree in June. They got to get Bryce going a little. I think he'll round into form later in the month going into July. So I think he'll be fine. But yeah, I think the Phillies offense has woken up. Maybe they're getting ready to go on a little run. I mean, Oakland, they did outperform the market by a wide margin,
Yeah.
and beat some good teams in the process. But I think Philly is in good form right now. Like you said, with Caprillion on the mound, not really a lot of faith in him to get quality outs against a solid lineup. So I wouldn't be ashamed to lay the first 5 run line, and also the over team total for Philly there also, because it seems like Philly, when they come out, they come out aggressive. They're swinging.
Yeah.
And Caprillion is going to give you a lot of stuff to hit. So I would probably do half unit first 5 over for the Phillies, and then another half unit on the full game.
Yeah, I agree. All right, before we get into our dog picks of the Saturday schedule, let me tell everyone about Edge Boost. This episode is supported by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be an extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down on some of your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months. We'll talk about the NL West division, and maybe you find something there that you do like. That's where Edge Boost comes in. You can also double down on your favorite bets or even use it to create an awesome middle or even a hedge opportunity. Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark as it charges 0% interest. Do you know of a way you can access more money to place on your favorite bets without paying any interest? You don't have to worry about bothering your friends or family to, like I mentioned, if you want to hedge on some of the futures or get down on some futures bet, whether that's for MLB or an NFL season coming up or even college football. Edge Boost can also be part of a responsible gaming plan as you can set up daily, weekly, monthly limits across all your betting accounts in one place. So do us a favor. If you want to support SGPN and grow your bankroll, go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older. Use problem gambling. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Lonte, let's get into our dog picks for the Saturday schedule. Why don't you lead us off, my man? What do you got?
Yeah, man. I'm going to go with a home pup here. Small dog. I think I see plus 105, 107. If you see a better price, shop around, of course. But I'm going with the Snakes, Arizona at home. I think I've probably been on Arizona every show that I've been on. But, just goes to show I think they're undervalued at home, especially. They're 21-17 at home. I think Cleveland's 16-19 on the road. I know Bieber's on the mound, but the way Arizona, they haven't played well. I think they lost that series against I'm blanking on who they played in that last series that they lost. Was it
the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, was it Philly?
Yeah, Phillies. Yeah.
Okay, so we just talked about but I think that's more to do with the Philly bats waking up rather than them looking bad. And I think they had a chance to win a game or two there also.
And that's that was a series where they started, I think, Zach Davies and Ryan Nelson as well. So
right.
It was back in the bullpen rotation guys for them.
And Phillies were at the top of their rotation. It's not the greatest rotation, but it's better than going against your fourth and fifth starters if you're Arizona. But they're Cleveland's great defense, poor offense. They're 27th in runs scored, 8th in runs allowed. So I think you got to take that in consideration when Bieber's on the mound. He's been pretty good, but as of late, man, he's been pretty good at home. He's been nails at home, but he's average to below average on the road, depending on the opponent. He's allowed 5 or more in 2 of the last 3 road starts. So, I think the Snakes are going to bounce back here and get a good win to a good series. They're 6th in close game win percentage, which shows they can win a low scoring game. Behind that defense, if Cleveland's not going to allow or make many mistakes in the field, so you're going to actually have to beat them versus them making mistakes. So I think Arizona is pretty good at winning close games. Like I said, top 10 in close game win percentage. Henry, he was roughed up in his last 2 starts, but he's got 2 earned runs or fewer in 5 of his last 6 home starts prior to that. So a small sample size. With Henry, he doesn't go a lot of innings. So as long as he can get to the, 4th or 5th inning, I don't trust the Arizona bullpen. That's where I start sweating when I'm betting them because they don't have a really good bullpen. But with this lineup, I'm pretty sure maybe he can stretch it out to 6 and get that bullpen a little extra room to work with. So give me Arizona at plus money, man. Home pup. I think they got a lot of value here.
Tommy Henry's left-handed pitcher, right? If I'm not.
Henry is he left? Yes, he is left. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, and again, Cleveland, like we talked about, Milwaukee is just one of those teams that's just not very good offensively at all. Just overall in the season, I'm trying to filter this down to against left-handed pitching, and that's where we talk about handicapping. I think that's where we really find those kind of trying to find those edges where teams that are not very good against left-handed pitching, and again, Cleveland is one of those teams on the season. WRC plus stat that I love looking at. They're number 28 out of 30 teams, so not very good. Team batting average against left-handed pitching, 241, which ranks number 24th in the league. Slugging percentage, 371, which is 28 out of 30 teams, and an OPS, 28 out of 30 teams. So they're bottom 5 in most offensive statistical categories. So like you mentioned, I think that Tom Henry definitely more comfortable at home in Chase Field in Arizona. Again, if and you also mentioned that Shane Bieber has good in Cleveland. And this season, he's only 1-2 with a 4.35 ERA on the road thus far this year. So I know that they've been able to put up some runs in his road starts, but I mean, I think that the last one was against the Orioles where they
Yeah.
won 12-8. But other than that, against the Mets, 2-1 victory for the Mets in that game. He took a loss there. Let's see, what else do we have here? Against the Chicago White Sox, 8-3. The White
Yep.
Sox won that game. The Nationals 7-6 victory. Oakland 4-3 victory.
Right.
Seattle 3-0 victory. So again, like I mentioned, you have a pitcher that's not doing very well on the road, and you have offense that has not been doing very well against left-handed pitching. So I think that's a good recipe right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, Lonte, my dog of the days. I'm going to go with the run line here. It's another home team as well. I'm going to go with the Seattle Mariners -1.5, and you currently find this at +140 for the Seattle Mariners. And we have Logan Gilbert getting the start here for the Seattle Mariners and Lucas Giolito on the mound here for the Chicago White Sox. And I'll start here with Logan Gilbert. Last season, he had two really good starts against this White Sox team, 2-0 in both of those games, 11 shutout innings. He only allowed 9 hits to the Mariners, and they won both of those games by at least 2 runs last season. You take a look at Giolito this season. He's had 7 starts on the road for the White Sox, and the White Sox have lost 5 out of those 7 starts on the road when Giolito is starting, and all 5 of those losses have come by at least 2 runs for the White Sox. White Sox on the road this season, not very good, 13-23. I'm just going to fade the White Sox here and get behind Logan Gilbert. Despite him only being 1-3 at home with a 4.11 ERA, he has faced some really good offenses at home. It's been the Yankees that was with Aaron Judge. The Rangers, we know, one of the best, if not the best offense right now in MLB. He did pitch a gem against the Guardians that we just talked about, where he only allowed 1 earned run in that start at home, but he didn't get any run support in that game. So now you have a pitcher that's coming in, Lucas Giolito, that's not been very good. And Logan Gilbert historically has been very good against this Chicago White Sox team. And again, this White Sox team just looks deflated. I mean, we saw it yesterday where they were up 4-0 against the Dodgers. Dodgers come back tied up 4-4, and we saw what happened in extra innings where Lewis Roberts just kind of didn't even make a move or an attempt to go try to catch a fly ball.
That was so crazy to me.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that was so. I was like, what the hell is he doing? Yeah,
I mean, I don't. That's not a team that I want to get behind or put my money on. So I think I think I have the better pitcher on the mound here. I have a more motivated team for sure. And I have a team that's not very good on the road. So at +140, I couldn't pass this up. I think Mariners get this job done by at least 2 earned runs.
Yeah, I think it's a good buy low spot on the Mariners. You mentioned with Gilbert. Gilbert's been really good against those top offenses. You brought it up with the numbers. And I don't think that the White Sox are close to being some of the caliber offenses that he's faced and pitched well against. So that's just another feather in the cap for you with that pick. Yeah, man, I think the Mariners, they gotta get something going here, get off to a better start. And I think this is the perfect team to get it against. I mean, the White Sox, they are, probably just deflated. I know a lot of people were trying to buy low on them to win the division, and I mean, I couldn't disagree more with that. Inconsistencies on the mound. We mentioned it, the play against the Dodgers. They did look good against the Dodgers in game 2, but I mean, we saw what happened when they took that lead. I think Chris Taylor hit the Grand Slam, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And it's crazy because it was the same exact pitch. He had fouled off a ball. I think it would have been probably either like a double, probably a base clearing double, or either a home run just over the left in left field. And he threw him the same pitch again to get out of the park. But yeah, man, White Sox is just a fade team. You can't go wrong with that. I know Mariners haven't looked great as of late, but I think it's a good spot for them to get right.
All right, before we get into our lock picks for the Saturday schedule, let me tell everyone about the newest sponsor on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. That is Birddogs. Birddogs are a stretch khaki shorts. They're designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. It's summertime, guys. I know a lot of us are going to be taking those vacations. It's getting hot. down here in the South for sure. It's getting hot in the Midwest. It's at summertime. So whether you're going to be traveling around the country or you're going out of country where it's going to be hot, whether you're going to Cancun or Miami Beach, wherever the case might be, man, you need to check out Birddogs for your shorts. Birddogs do the exact same thing as Lululemons, but fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts. They're made of stiff, restricting cotton. And Birddogs fixed that issue by inventing a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khakis, but stretches so you can get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice on movement. They also have swim shorts. So if you're going to be poolside this summer, you have a pool in your backyard, or you're going to the community pool or a friend's pool, relative's pool, wherever the case might be, you're headed to the beach. They have swimming shorts as well. So definitely check them out. Birddogs also uses an anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. So how do you take advantage of this? Go to birddogs.com/pool. And not only do they have some great shorts, they're also giving you a free Yeti style tumbler when you purchase any shorts on their website. Again, that's birddogs.com/pool for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you that. All right, Lonte, let's get into our lock picks for the Saturday schedule. Lead us off, my man. What do you got?
Yeah, man, another familiar foe for me as far as bet on teams. In baseball, I think you can make a lot of money betting on teams and fading the teams who are not good. And I think a good buy spot for this team would be in this matchup they have, and that's the Texas Rangers, 22-12 at home. I'm sorry. Toronto isn't a bad team on the road, 500. But, I mean, we all know the inconsistencies. They could show up one day and score 7 or 8 runs, or they could be hitless and, score 1 run. So I'm going with Texas at home. They've been underwhelming in the series against the Halos. I thought they gave away a few games in that series, specifically the last game. Ohtani hit the Oppo home run.
Yeah.
And they had some misfortune. I think they were rallying in the bottom of the 9th, and it would have been Semien that came up, but he got thrown out of the game. I think 2 of their managers got thrown out of the game, right?
So I watched the highlight this morning on Twitter. I think it was Ramon De Jesus that threw out 3 Rangers. It was 2 coaches and Marcus Semien.
Yeah,
and then, back to back.
Right, and then Marcus Semien wasn't even. I was watching the game. He wasn't even, as demonstrative as the coach, of course, but and he just got thrown out, and it just goes. I mean, he took away from a great moment in that game, because it would have been the heart of the lineup. There was Marcus Semien coming up with bases loaded, I think, and they had actually pulled. I forgot the reliever's name, but one of their better relievers in the game. He pulled him, and the guy in the bullpen that was coming in, I think it was Webb that was coming in, he was upset, he's like, I'm not even ready to throw, and then he goes out there and pitches well. But I thought that the Rangers pretty much gave that game away. Dunning is slated to be the starter. I don't see a starter for Toronto. Do you? I saw Berrios, and then they took him off the board, and then I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Berrios had just pitched the other night, didn't he? I don't see a starter yet for them.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, Dunning is slated to go for Texas. You see that?
Yeah, Dunning. Yeah. I have Dunning.
Yeah. Okay. So Dunning, he got roughed up in his last 2 home starts, but prior to that, he had allowed 4 earned runs in the 4 starts prior to that. Total, so just basically a run per game. I mean, he's pitched well against good offenses like Atlanta, New York, Baltimore. So the lineup is probably nothing that he won't be able to handle. I mean, he's faced those other lineups, and I mean, Toronto's got a good lineup, but there's nothing that he hasn't pitched well against before. So I think the history there of him pitching well against certain lineups is in his favor. Texas's offense, I mentioned it hasn't been good as of late. They're in a bit of a funk. 3 earned runs or less in 3 of the last 5 games, which is down from what they usually do at home. If I'm not mistaken, they're right around 7 runs at home in the past maybe 15 or 16 home games. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so I want to say I remember us doing a podcast, and it was right at 6.8 over the last 8 games. So close to 7. I would just say 6 to be on the safe side, but between 6 and 7 runs for the past 15 to 16 home games. So the offense is likely to pick up. Like I said, I don't trust Toronto. Too inconsistent against a really good team who just lost a series against a division opponent that they really wanted to get. And you could tell how that was a really, really high leverage game for both teams. You could tell by some of the moves that each manager was making. I like the Texas Rangers here, man, to get back on track and get a big home win.
6.73 over their last 15 games at
Close.
home.
Yeah, close.
Yeah. So they've been crushing the baseball. But yeah, man, look, I'm not gonna get an argument for me. Dane Dunning, I know he's given up some runs, he's regressed a little bit, but they're still winning ball games at home when he's pitching. They're 3-0 in his I think 7 starts at home. As at least his record is Dane Dunning's trying to look at. I know he took a loss in his last round against the Angels, but Angels seems like they've also found some form
Yeah, they have.
offensively. And he also gave up 5 walks in that game to the Angels, so that's not a recipe for success when you are a pitcher in the major leagues. But more times than not, they have won in his starts at home. Just kind of going through it all the way back from April. 16-3 victory over the Phillies. They took a 7-2 loss against the Orioles, but 11-2 victory over the Royals, 5-2 victory over the Yankees, 7-4 victory over the Braves, and then the last 2 games at home, 6-4 victory of the Cardinals, and then the last loss, like we talked about, was the Angels. So, yeah, I do trust Dunning. I know last season or a couple seasons ago he was fade material, but he's really rounded into form here for this pitching rotation for the Rangers, and he's looked really good. So, especially backed by this offense, couldn't talk you off of this for sure. All right, Lonte, from my lock, I'm going to go over to that game between the Miami Marlins and the Washington Nationals. I'm going to take the Marlins on the run line here, -1.5. Coming to get a -105 over on DraftKings. And it's really, I'm fading Jake Irvin here, man. He's been terrible this season for the Nationals. He's 1-3 with a 5.81 ERA. And at home, he's 0-2 with a 7.32 ERA. The Nationals have lost 5 straight games when Irvin has started, and each of those games they've lost by at least 2 earned runs. The opposition has scored at least 8 runs in each of his last 5 games when Irvin is on the mound. And on the other side, we have Braxton Garrett, who gets to start for the Marlins. On the season, he is 2-2 with a 4.10 ERA, but he has more success on the road this season, where he does possess a 2.29 ERA compared to his home ERA in Miami, where it's 6.35. So it's almost a third of what he has on the road compared to at home. Also, his day and night splits. Braxton Garrett during the day has an ERA of 1.89. He's pitched 38 innings during the day. He's only allowed 8 earned runs in that span. And on the season, I know the Nationals are good against left-handed pitching, where they are number 9 in WRC plus and number 3 in batting average against left-handed pitching. But if you filter that down to over the last 2 weeks, those numbers have dipped for the Nationals, where they dropped to number 15 in team batting average and all the way down to number 23 in WRC plus. So I'm going to take my chances here with Braxton Garrett on the mound, continue fading Jake Irvin here. I think the Marlins bats can get to Jake Irvin here for sure. If you want to play the first 5 innings run line for the Marlins, I don't hate that, but I think for me at -105 at -1.5, -105 for the Marlins against Jake Irvin and the Nationals here, I'm going to take that as my lock for the Saturday games here, Lonte.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like, Washington is one of those teams I can't get right either. They covered just about every run line. I was talking about Mackenzie Gore last episode with Mal and D-Rock, and he goes out and throws a gem against one of the better offenses. I mean, granted, they didn't have Jordan in the lineup, but that was a great pitching duel, Javier and Gore. No runs going into the 8th or 9th inning, if I'm not mistaken, and then they like erupt. I think Presley blew. That's like a second blown save, if I'm not mistaken, right?
For who?
For Presley.
Yeah, I know there was a game where the Nationals had come back, and then they walked. I think they walked it off in the bottom of the 9th of the Astros, and then the last game.
If it's not his second consecutive, it's maybe his second in a row. I can't get Washington right, but I do agree with you. With Irvin being on the mound, it's a different story between Gore and Irvin, obviously. And if you're a prop better, I mean, I know my guy Adam Rosenberg sends a lot of props out, but Arise total bases, I mean, that's a great look. He probably can get that in first at bat, to be honest, against Irvin. So I would look that way. Also, wouldn't hate a run in the first inning for the Marlins. They usually typically get off to faster starts and then kind of slow down. So I don't hate that either. So I'll look for the Marlins early and often in the matchup. But I don't hate the run line play also at plus money.
All right, so that is going to be our lock, dog, and total for the Saturday games. And as part of our Friday Futures show, we'll talk about the NL West division today. So let's dive into it here, Lonte. currently I am pulling up the updated numbers here and the updated standings for the NL West division, and I am currently seeing the Arizona Diamondbacks are leading this division right now with a record of 41-28. They have a 2-game lead over the second place team, which is the LA Dodgers, 39-20. Then you have the Giants at 36-32. Padres 2 games below 500. 33-35, 7.5 games back are the Padres, and then the lowly Colorado Rockies, 29-42, with a 13 game deficit behind the Arizona Diamondbacks. And currently, right now, what I'm seeing here, Lonte, the updated odds, I should say, for this division. The Dodgers are a minus 215 odds-on favorite to win the division. The D-backs are 5-1, Padres 6-1, Giants 8-1, and the Rockies are a 600-1 right now. So we probably won't have much to talk about the Rockies. But let's talk about this Arizona Diamondbacks team. I know a lot of us, when we did the division previews coming into the season, we were really high on this Diamondbacks team, right? I know they had made some trades in the offseason. I know they traded Dalton Varsho over to the Toronto Blue Jays. But it's really, we're all fans of Zach Gallen. He does pitch, I believe, on Friday night for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But this team has, I thought they were going to do well this season. We also did give them out to make the playoffs at around 4-1, 5-1. But right now they're still 5-1 to win this division. I know we talked to, or you tipped the Pirates a while back at a 9-1 price, if I'm not mistaken, when they had the division lead. Right now at 5-1. I know they have the Dodgers in this division, and really for the Pirates, I don't want to say they're in control of their own destiny, but a lot of us had the Cardinals or the Brewers picked in that division. I know the Cardinals have just been absolutely terrible thus far this season. But what are you thinking about this Diamondbacks team, man? Right now, 41-28. 5-1 to win this division right now. Do you think they can hold on, or do you think they're going to regress?
Man, I think they can be. I don't think they're going to regress to, back to regular, like what we're used to seeing, but I think they might regress a little. Now, I also don't think that the Dodgers are this juggernaut like they used to be with Kershaw and age. I think is Dustin May, is he injured or like?
I'm gonna try to look that up because I know
I was kind of confused at some of the reports I was reading about him. But I mean, their pitching is not as shored up as a lot of people think it is, and like it usually be. So to be down 2.5 games and a minus 215 favorite, I mean, I know we got a lot of baseball left, but if Arizona can shore up that bullpen at the trade deadline, I think that's their biggest concern is shoring up that bullpen. Maybe get another arm to help Gallen out. I mean, look, I was a believer in Arizona from the jump. I know I was watching you guys talk about it. I had my own preconceived notions on them last year with how well Gallen pitched to end that year. So I thought going into this year, they would be a lot better team. Not this good, but I thought they'd be, somewhat better. Corbin Carroll swinging the bat really, really well. He's playing really good. Like I said, I mean, they're winning at home. I don't have the schedule or breakdown of how many home games they have left, but I mean, if they can go, what are they, 21 and let me look.
So they're 21-17 at home, and they're actually been better on the road. They're 20-11.
Right. So 4 games over 500. If they can keep it around that 4 or 5 range, I think they got a real good shot at 5-1 to win this. I mean, the main thing is they got to shore up that bullpen. They got to get that bullpen shored up to be able to close out some of those games. Because if I'm not mistaken, they have a decent amount of blown games due to that bullpen. So if they can get that taken care of, maybe add a third, middle of the rotation guy to help Gallen out. But I mean, I think 5-1 is a bargain. I mean, I know we're going to get to it, but like I would take a swing at San Diego, maybe, man. I mean, just the upside of their offense. I mean, just alone. I mean, they're playing well right now. I mean, Tatis is playing incredible on both sides. He's fielding the ball really well. I think, did you see that throw that he threw that guy out at first? He had his body like another man. That was great. He's robbing home runs. He's hitting home runs. Soto is always going to be Soto. Yeah, man. If they can get it together, I'd love to hear your thoughts on San Diego. I don't trust their pitching as much as I do their offense. I guess that's the main halt and why I wouldn't put a decent amount of stock in it. But I think it's worth a couple sprinkles for San Diego.
Yeah, I think let me give my thoughts on the Diamondbacks. I agree with you 100% about that. I think they need to get or I don't think they need to get another arm in that pitching rotation because it's really Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly. And then there's a significant fall off. I know we talked about Tommy Henry today, and he's been decent thus far for this Diamondbacks team, but Ryan Nelson hasn't been that guy for them. I faded him his last start against the Phillies. He's been giving up runs early within those first 5 innings, so that's not going to get it done for this Arizona Diamondbacks team. So if they're able to get maybe another number 2 or number 3 decent arm in there, I think this team can, stay along very well and still compete for this division. Offensively, I'm not worried about this team. I mean, we talked about Corbin Carroll, who's, probably going to be Rookie of the Year. I know Cruz is going to give him a run for his money with the Reds, but Kelton Marte, he's been pretty good for this team as well. Christian Walker, I know they traded for Lourdes Gurriel as part of that trade with the Blue Jays in the offseason. And, they have had guys that have contributed as well. So, and you're right, they do need to shore up the bullpen. So not more question marks for this Arizona Diamondbacks team. It's kind of, patching up the holes right now, which is kind of that pitching side of this team for this Diamondbacks team, which is either getting an arm in that rotation and adding a couple more arms in that bullpen.
Out of some of the guys that are available, who are some of the guys you think are going to be available? I mean, it's always hard to tell with some of the teams. I know that I think a lot of people were tossing around, Stroman, depending on what the Cubs want to do. Man, I've heard people toss around a bunch of different names, man. Some guys.
I've heard Bieber as well.
Right, man. Me too. Yeah, I've heard Bieber. A bunch of different guys. So I think are quality starters, maybe just not for the situation that they're in. But yeah, man, if they can get Bieber or Strump, man, that's a hell of a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I think Stroman would be really good for this team. I think kind of fits that perfect 2 to 3 guy that they need here behind Zach Gallen. I'll get to the Padres in your second here. Dodgers, again, you mentioned they're not that juggernaut team, but they're dealing with those injuries in that pitching rotation. Dustin May is going to be, I think, sidelined for at least 2 months, which is what they're calling a forearm strain. So I'll be surprised if we do see him back for the season. I know he's coming off the Tommy John surgery. And they're also without Julio Urias as well. And I know Walker Buehler is going to be out for this rest of the season as well. So this team isn't afraid to go out and make a move if they need to for a pitching arm. We saw that with the Mike Scherzer trade, the Trey Turner trade that they did make a few seasons back. But
let's hope it's not Ohtani.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be something in the offseason for Ohtani if they do make a move for him. But I forgot who mentioned it in the chat here. It was Kaysen that's saying, does anybody really care about the division at this point? It's really Padres, Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks. And I think that we talk about the Dodgers, they're probably going to be okay just kind of getting into the playoffs. So talking about this Dodgers team, I mean, I really didn't have much with this Dodgers team. It's kind of like they're kind of just chugging along here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We know the offense can put up runs. The question mark, like you mentioned, has been the pitching rotation. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go out and make a move or to add an arm in this division. Obviously, you're not going to lay a minus 215 price with this team right now. That's 2 games back, and we're in the month of June right now. But do you have any more thoughts on the Dodgers? I think the more conversation is probably about this Padres team coming up.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you can't lay 215. I don't care how confident you are in the Dodgers, with some of their injuries. I mean, you just listed off their 3 aces. Those guys were at the top of their lineup. Yeah, like a year ago. So I mean, you're down 3 guys, and I mean Gonsolin, while he's good, I mean I think he gets a lot of flack, but I mean he's not the greatest, 1, 2 or 1 if you want to put him there. So
he's great in Dodger Stadium. I'll say that much. He's really good at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah. But I mean that's about it. Yeah. I mean me and you could probably be good at Dodger Stadium with the way those bats swing there. But yeah, man, I think the Dodgers are somewhat in. You know how me and you both can relate to the NBA references. I think they're similar to what Denver was at the end of the season, where they knew they were good in the playoffs. They were gonna be a top seed, and all they wanted to do was get in, and it didn't matter where they were because they are pretty much premiered as a better team in power rating. So I think that's what the Dodgers were on, and I think Arizona, the young team. with some of those guys. I think that'll be a big accomplishment for them to win that division. So, I mean, you got the motivation. You got, I mean, right now, 2.5 games up. I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot, but if they get rolling, they win at home, they win on the road. If you just add some more pieces to that, I mean, I think the juice is only going to get higher for them. And like you said, I mean, the Dodgers. I mean, how many division titles have they won? I mean, do they really care about the division?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's what basically factored into my handicap is that I don't think the Dodgers are motivated to win. They want to get healthy. They want to get those guys back if they can, and just maybe get them some reps and not overdo it. Get in the playoffs and see what they can do. But again, this is all subjective because if they go out and they go get whoever like Ohtani or something, everything changes.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah.
Getting over to the next team, the Giants, which are in third place in this division, 36-32. They've been playing really good baseball, at least over the last 4 to 6 weeks here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Within this not only division, but obviously in MLB. But this team was a couple seasons removed from winning 100+ games and winning the division, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, big odds.
They had really big odds to win this division. And again, this is another team that doesn't have the big sexy name and big sexy names. I know they have some guys in the batting order that casual baseball fans may know, but you talk about their pitching rotations, it's really guys like Logan Webb, who's absolutely phenomenal in San Francisco all the time. I mean, there's no question about that. And then quietly, they've won 4 games in a row. They've won 7 out of the last 9 games. And you just kind of take a look at their stats. I think it starts with Gabe Kepler, their manager, who's just done a really good job of working with the names that he does have on this team. And again, like I mentioned, it's not the big sexy names for this team. Logan Webb is leading this team in ERA and innings pitched. You have Anthony DeSclafani, Alex Cobb. But I think for this team, when we talk about a definition, again, if you want to make another NBA reference, it feels like it's like the other NBA Finals team. It's like the Miami Heat, right? It's like they don't have the big sexy names. I know they have Jimmy Butler and stuff, but they just find ways to win with their role players. And then I'm not sure what the future holds. I know that we had the whole Aaron Judge or Arson Judge in the offseason and all that stuff, and also try to get Carlos Correa. That didn't work out for them either. But do you have any thoughts on this Giants team?
Look, man, I mean, the Giants have been counted out so many times and prove people wrong. I don't totally count them out. I just wouldn't put my money behind it. I mean, you mentioned Logan Webb. I just don't trust the rest of those guys to be consistently good night in and night out or start after start every 5 days, every 6 days, however they do their rotations. But I think Webb is really good. Their offense is the definition of money ball. Like they got guys, they get on base. Yeah. They do the right things. They're the perfect baseball team, like analytically driven. And I think that's to be accounted for. But as far as putting money on it, I mean, I don't think that they're better than the Dodgers or Arizona right now. I don't think the pitching will get any better. I mean, their bats are going to be what they are. They're going to get contact. They're going to get on base. They're going to do things the right way. But as far as we saw what happened to the Miami Heat, man. They run up against better guys, and it's only so much you can do. And you only can throw Logan Webb every 5 days. So, I mean, maybe if Rodon was still there, I mean, as a Yankees fan, I kind of wish he was still there and we could have signed somebody else. But, like, if he was still there, then that's different because then you got the 10-day window where, boom, you can go back-to-back Webb, Rodon, Webb, and get you 2 wins or be competitive in those 2 games. And, I mean, in the division right now, I mean, if they had Webb and Rodon, I mean, that's probably the best 1-2 punch in that division, if Rodon was rounding into what he was and not, what he ended up at the end of last season. So, yeah, man, right now I just don't trust the pitching staff of San Francisco. They're never to be counted out. I just won't put my money on them. I'd rather take a longer flyer with San Diego. Well, actually, I guess I would rather take San Diego at their odds than San Francisco.
Yeah, look, and we talk about San Diego team now. I think they were the big sexy pick coming into this year. Where they, again, made some great offseason moves, or not great offseason moves, I want to say, but they gave a huge contract to Xander Bogaerts. They already had Juan Soto in this lineup who they traded for last year. Manny Machado opted out. He re-signed with this team. And also Fernando Tatis Jr. was dealing with all the suspensions and stuff like that. But this team, at least offensively, has been a little underwhelming. And it seems like they have started to found some form here over the last couple of weeks here, especially over this last week where the averages are definitely up for a lot of these batters in the lineup. Xander Bogaerts right now, 267, Juan Soto 261, Manny Machado 252, Fernando Tatis 280. But I think also you kind of take a look at the pitching for this team as well, right? Right now, their ace right now, at least from a stats perspective, has been Michael Wacha. He leads his team with 7 wins, ERA of 2.89, 7-2 record. He has 8 quality starts and 13 starts thus far this season. And then after that, it's guys like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove. I know he had a good season last year, coming back from injury, hasn't been able to find his form just yet. But what are your thoughts on this Padres team? Because on paper, they were one of the odds-on favorites, I think, with the Dodgers to win this division right now. For them sitting at where they are, I think the value for this team is, or the odds indicate that the value may be on this Padres team right now here, Lonte.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, back to the NBA references, man. I think this is more like the I guess I would say the Dallas Maverick, Phoenix Sun type of team, ton of talent, great offense, not so good defense in certain situations. But I mean, just with those bats, you listed out the averages. I mean, they can go at the top of their lineup is probably better than 90% of baseball's full lineup. Like, just
look, you have these 4 names at the top of your lineup: Juan Soto, Xander Bogaerts, Manny Machado, and Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, come on, man.
Right. So I mean, and we've seen it. Like, and I've seen what those guys are made of. It's just that the pitching is, Darvish is not good on the road. Musgrove is hit or miss. You mentioned Snell. I'm not the biggest Snell fan. I mean, I think he's pretty much hit or miss, and when he's off, he's really, like, when he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it at all. Like, there's no getting out of certain situations. If he doesn't have it, the offense is gonna pour it on. So I mean, as long as they're playing, at Petco, then I mean, they're just a juggernaut, especially offensively. But I got questions about that pitching staff. I mean, Wacha is. I mean, I don't know what to think of Wacha, because I mean, he was in Boston, right?
He was in Boston. He's bounced around a lot in his career.
Yeah, but when he was in Boston, he used to kill New York. I used to hate when he pitched against New York. I used to hate him, man. He has a knack for performing in big spots and big games. So I am a fan of Wacha. Now I can be a fan of him now that he's out of Boston. But yeah, I mean, but you got to think, like, Darvish is supposed to be your ace. I'm assuming that's what they wanted. Darvish is supposed to be your ace, and he can't win a road game at home. Yeah, he's perfectly fine. But you got to be able to win on the road to be able to make an impact here. And while they're hot right now, I mean, the competition hasn't been great. I think they played a lot of defense-oriented teams. Didn't they have a series against, like, Cleveland not too long ago? Yeah, so I want to see them.
Week, yeah.
Yeah, so
the offense woke up.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, because Cleveland, they don't have the threat offensively to be able to challenge them. So I mean, when you going in with a club who doesn't have the will to score 5 or 6 runs on a consistent basis, or I mean 4 to 5 runs on a consistent basis like Cleveland, I mean, you got more juice offensively to be able to go out there, swing the bat, and be more comfortable knowing that this team is not offensively driven. At least that's how I look at it. But yeah, I mean, just upside wise, I mean, I think 6-1 you said is the
for the Padres. Yeah, it is 6-1 right now on DraftKings. But again, make sure to definitely shop around.
Yeah, I mean, worth a shot at anything over there. Just worth a sprinkle on it. I do think, just because if this was any other team, like, as far as being games back, they'd be double digits to win a division. So that just goes to show you, like you mentioned, the respect that the odds makers have for the Padres and that offense. If they can, I don't know what kind of moves they could make as far as getting some more quality arms. Maybe they just think that they have enough quality arms. I personally, I'm just not a fan of 2 or 3 of those guys in the long run. Maybe they're good right now, but in the long run, the further they get into the season, I think those guys will wear down and probably cost them. But worth a shot at 6-1.
It almost seems like a Shane Bieber would be a great fit for this pitching rotation.
I think Shane Bieber fit anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere. You're right, but I think that when we talk about, like,
that's a fair point
needed,
Yeah.
I think that he would be a great fit here. And again, I wouldn't count out Otani in the offseason. I don't know if they will find a way to make the money work, or
They
if they
will.
can make the money
Man,
work.
they got Derek Stevens back in there, man. They good.
That's
They
true.
good. They good.
But yeah, look, I think that, and I've been talking about this a lot over the past month, that this offense has been lackluster, and I think they finally, at least this past week against the Guardians, they've woken up a little bit. But this is another team. I think that's kind of been the theme of this division. They need pitching, right? We talked about the Dodgers, the injuries that they have to their pitching rotation. We talked about the Arizona Diamondbacks that need some help on their pitching rotation. And then also the Giants' Logan Webb, and after that, it's a big question mark for this team. So, it'll be interesting to see what kind of transpires for this Padres team. Like I mentioned, right now they are how many 7.5 games back.
Yeah.
At 6-1, I definitely do think that it's worth a sprinkle. I'll throw some miss playoff odds before we wrap up the episode here today, but for the Colorado Rockies, I have nothing to add here.
Neither do I.
It's the same thing with this team every single year, that they're decent at home, but on the road, they're absolutely atrocious. Right now, 29-42, 13 games back against NL West Division. They're missing their top 2 bats, arguably, with Chris Bryant and also Charlie Blackmon, who's on the IL with, I believe it's a broken hand for him. They've been feisty, I'll say that. They'll sneak out a win here or there where they're a 2-1 underdog. I think they did against the Boston Red Sox earlier this week. I know they're in Atlanta this weekend, but I thought their run differential would be much higher than it is right now at -75. But I don't have much for this team, Lonte. Do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. And I'm surprised. Is because the Marlins still have the worst run differential in the MLB, right?
The Marlins, no, it's the A's.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't even count the A's anymore.
So the Marlins are right now -30.
Oh, okay.
Nationals are -48.
Oh, wait. Okay, so they have the biggest differential for winning teams. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Okay. Yeah, but I got nothing. I got nothing to add for Colorado, man. Just don't bet it. Just leave them alone. Just cross them off your list. Just cross them.
So to kind of wrap up, there's some miss odds here, and then we'll give out a bet here that we would put down a $100 free roll if we had one here for this NL West division. So Padres right now to make the divisions, Lonte, -120 is a yes, no is even money. This over at DraftKings. The Dodgers -1600 to make the playoffs. Giants are at +110 to make the playoffs, and Noah's at -130. Does that no price intrigue you a little bit?
A little bit it does. What is the how many games are they out of the wild card? Do you have the wild card standings?
Yeah, I have it right here. So right now they are, let's go to the National League. They're in third. It's 3 teams now, right?
Yeah, it's 3. Yeah.
So they had that third spot right now. The
Okay.
Phillies are 1.5 games back. The Brewers are 2 games back. The Reds are 2.5 back. Padres 3, Mets 4, and Cubs 5.
Yeah, I'll take the no on that, thinking that, I mean, how high I am on the Padres, and I think you like the Padres also. Yep. But I kind of like the Reds a lot too. I mean, I know we're not talking about their division, but they're only 1.5 games back. You said, right?
2.5.
Yeah, so I think I like the Reds there. I like 3 or 4 teams behind them to get hot and challenge them for that third spot. And like I said, I mentioned the pitching for San Francisco. Not really a fan of it. Yeah, man. So I like the no for San Francisco to not make the playoffs.
All right, so $100 free bet here I'm giving you. You could split it up. You could put it on one team. Where would you put it on this NL West division, whether it's a division winner or whether it's a miss playoff odds?
Man, give me Arizona at 5-1 to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely good value for a team at the top of the division, playing good baseball, not a lot of injuries. We mentioned the injuries that the Dodgers have faced. I mean, who knows? I mean, injuries are going to happen to every team, so you got to just hope it doesn't happen at the wrong times. But right now, good injury luck for Arizona, not so good for the Dodgers. I like their 1-2 better than the Dodgers 1-2 right now. I mean, if they can just get that bullpen shirt up, I mean, if they could get that bullpen shirt up, I put a lot more on it. But as far as the $100 bet, give me that 5-1, man. I think that's good value being at the top of that division.
Yeah, I am holding a 50-1 and a 25-1 on the Arizona Diamondbacks to win the
Whoa.
division.
Whoa.
But my $100 free bet, I think I really like that Giants. I know it's a minus price at this juncture of
Yeah.
the season, man, but I think there's a lot more competitive teams, not only in this division where they're gonna have to battle with the Dodgers, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and John kind of put into perspective here, Lonte. The books have the Diamondbacks at minus 155 to make the playoffs. And then you also take a look at the San Diego Padres minus 120 to make the playoffs. And then we talked about so that's three teams right there that they're expecting to make that make the division.
So they want the whole the whole NL West except for Colorado is gonna
yeah. So I think I would rather I like that no price because the Phillies, the Brewers, the Reds, and the Mets, I think are all, I don't want to say better teams. I think have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Giants do. So
I think they got higher upside. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there you go. The upside, I think that's a correct word. So I would go with the Giants at minus 130. Put a little bit on that. And then if you do like the Padres, again, upside is there for sure at 6-1. I don't hate it. But I already have those Diamondbacks futures. I'm hoping that they do hold down. I know we're slowly approaching the halfway mark of the season, but yeah, man, let's see what happens with this team.
I'm rooting for you for those. I got Arizona over their win total.
Yes, I do too.
But I don't have any. I don't have any division stuff. But I will add this 5-1 to my portfolio for sure.
I agree, my man. All right, man. That is going to do it for this edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast. Lonte, anything else we want to mention before we get out of here, my man?
Not much, man. A lot of good baseball on this weekend. Some pretty good matchups. And also, I mean, the College World Series is like going to be incredible. I think team in my backyard here, Wake Forest, saw them a lot live. Man, really, really good team. They got a lot of good players. I think they got a pro. Rhett is the ace for their lineup. Really good pitcher. So, man, some good quality MLB players to look out for in the College World Series if you're a diehard, like I guess, or degenerate like we are. Stuff to look at.
I'm currently sweating out TCU minus 1.5, and it's not looking good for me right now.
Man, I got TCU.
Yeah, they had a 5-2 lead heading into the top of the ninth. They already golfed up one. They have 2 on, nobody out. So,
man, listen, Oral Roberts is the Miami Heat. They are the Miami Heat. They do not quit. After they blew that game against Oregon, I thought it was over for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so too.
They came back, won the series, and now they're in the College World Series. Yeah, man, great baseball. Great baseball weekend, man. Great baseball weekend.
Appreciate everybody in the chat. We'll be back on Sunday, same time around 5 Eastern. We'll talk about the Monday games. I believe it's myself and Lonte will be back on Sunday, so look out for us then.
Yep.
Enjoy the baseball this weekend. Let's make some money. Good luck with your bets here, guys. Let's break these books off and let it ride.